We're back on the Morning Brew with friends, and this is Amos Arber, your assistant curator of the ABQ BioPark Botanic Garden. And you are the perfect guy to ask. All of us here at the Morning Brew, we've been joking that the show is brought to you by Curator and or any other allergy medication you can take. Because all of us here are sniffling the last couple of weeks. What is pollinating right now?
Well, of course, the spring, there's a lot of things blooming. The past few weeks, there's been elm and juniper and mulberry are probably the main offenders that
It's the mulberry.
are bugging people. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's one of those trees that is actually illegal to plant in
Oh, is it really?
now. Yeah.
I still see
because
them
of the
around.
pollen.
It's not
Sure.
illegal to cut them down, is it?
That's correct, yeah. A lot of people make money doing that. So,
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure. They were a popular tree at one point.
They were. When people got FHA loans, you got a free mulberry tree, and that's why a lot of
You're
the
kidding.
houses have mulberries planted in the front yards.
You got a free mulberry tree.
Yeah, a fruitless mulberry.
That just kind of sounds horrible. We're going to give you a thing that makes your eyes water and your...
Well, you know, despite all the bad things that mulberries have, they also are really fast-growing, great shade trees. I mean,
Right.
the amount of cooling they provide for Albuquerque is kind of impossible to calculate. So despite
Right.
the couple of weeks of allergies, they really do a lot for Albuquerque.
Right. Well, are there other trees that kind of do that don't make...
Well, the classic one is the Siberian elm. You
Oh, of
know,
course.
Clyde Tingley's tree.
Right.
That they also gave away by the thousands.
And those are the ones we know that drop all the seeds.
Yep.
Is there a tree that is not a pain?
Well, yeah, definitely. I mean, those are some of the ones that are extremely vigorous and tend to grow without much input, but there's dozens and dozens of great trees that require very little input and have a lot of showy, add a lot of beauty to your yard.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
And how long have you been at the BioPark?
About a year and a half.
About a year and a half. And,
Yeah.
and you are an arborist.
I am a certified arborist.
And what does that mean?
The certified arborist is it's a certification that you take through the ISA, it's the International Society of Arboriculture. And so what that involves is having experience, prerequisites, letters of recommendation, and finally taking an exam.
And your last name is
Yeah.
Arber. Is that a coincidence? Were you born? Did somebody say you were going to be an arborist, Mr. Amos Arber?
Boy, I suppose. It's spelled a little different, but
Right.
yeah, it's something. I wouldn't have ever guessed that. So.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
So, how do you take care of the trees at the Botanic Garden, and what do you take care of there?
Well, I'm a supervisor for a landscape crew that takes care of Tingley Beach as well as some other exhibits.
Oh, one of my favorite little spots to go. My
Okay.
dog loves walking around Tingley Beach and smelling everything.
Oh, yeah.
And chasing the ducks.
I'm sure, yeah. Yeah, so I help take care of Tingley Beach, some of the other exhibits. We also help install some of the new exhibits. Right now we're helping work at the High Desert Rose Garden.
That's going to be opening soon, isn't it?
That's correct, around mid-June.
And that sounds really cool. What is a high desert rose, and what does that mean?
So that's the term they've given for the exhibit because we are in the high desert, and
Right.
It's going to be featuring what are called old world roses. So they're roses that are true species that tend to be a lot more hardy and drought tolerant as opposed to some of the more delicate hybrids that people often grow.
So there are more thorns and more leaves and smaller blooms, I'm guessing?
That is one thing that happens, but not always. Some of them are extremely showy. They don't all have thorns. They do tend to be a little bit tougher, although some of the old world roses tend to be extremely fragrant. So that's something that people really enjoy.
That's awesome. So is it going to be an indoor exhibit so we can smell all of these roses?
There'll be lots of outdoor plantings. There will also be like a glass house exhibit space for flower shows and other special events.
Very cool. We got some photos, I know, of some of the flowers you guys have there.
Yeah.
I don't know what any of these are.
This is an English hawthorn. There's a lot of varieties of English hawthorns. They come in various flower colors and tree forms. And it's something shrubby, something really tall. This is a really great tree that flowers, and it happens that you can see last year's fruit on there, and which
Is
the
this
birds
edible
love.
fruit?
The birds like it.
Okay,
Yeah.
not people.
Not people, yeah, but birds love it.
Don't go
yeah.
to the Botanic Garden and start picking stuff and eating it. Is that what
Generally a
you're
bad idea. Yeah. Right here, on this image is a Mexican elder flower. You'll see this picture is a long Tingley Drive. They're lining Tingley Drive. This is a great small flowering tree.
And these smell wonderful.
It doesn't have a particularly strong smell. Some of the others that we may have photos of do, but this is a great small tree. This one has a strong smell. This is the purple Robe Locust. They're flowering all over town right now. You'll start to notice them, and outrageous flowers and colors. They're just loaded right now, and then a really strong smell. You tend to notice it in the evening more.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I know the Japanese garden is one of our favorite places.
It's
we were
great.
talking about the Japanese garden before,
Yeah.
and that's been growing. No pun intended.
Yeah, and with a garden like that, as the plants mature, they have a Japanese garden specialist who comes in and does the specialized pruning. And so as those trees grow and are taken care of over the years, they get to more and more character, and it gets to be, even more and more special as the years go on. And the Japanese garden, in some lists across the country, is rated as one of the top 10 in the country. So I really encourage people to go check it out. It's not something you would immediately think of in Albuquerque, but it is really fantastic.
That's very cool. I love it. I love the rock stuff and the sand and everything, and it's just beautiful, the patterns and everything, how people lay it out. It's just very cool.
Yeah.
And then just briefly, I know that this October we've got another exhibit opening, right?
That's correct. It's they're going to be calling it the Bugarium.
That's going to creep out some of the people backstage here who don't like the bugs.
Yeah. It's going to be an amazing exhibit. If you look where Tingley Drive goes across Central, you'll see a big giant green roof. So they're just finishing up the building now. They're working on the exhibit soon, and they expect it to be one of the best insectariums in the nation.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
We can't wait to see it all. We'll be back in a couple of seconds on the Morning Brew with Friends. We're going to have a little bit more talk about, I think, about entrepreneurism and local bookstores and everything.
Great.
Join us?
Sure.
Excellent. We'll be back on the Morning Brew with Friends.